Despite the passionate protests, a short while later the Birmingham bombing occurred. The bombing was a racially motivated attack on a predominantly black church located in Alabama. It led to the death of 4 young black girls, and was a boiling point for the movement, leading to huge and nationwide outcries. The real change came after these events in 1964, when the Civil Rights Act was pushed through. It was originally proposed by John F. Kennedy, but was signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson after Kennedy's assassination in 1963. The act banned workplace discrimination on the basis of race and sex, as well as other factors. It effectively ended segregation and is seen as the most important achievement which came about due to the civil rights movement. 1 year later, the Voting Act will be placed into effect. This legislation prohibits literacy tests and other restrictions which were created to stop black people from voting. This photo was taken on March 7, 1965 in Selma, Alabama, on what would be known as Bloody Sunday. The image depicts a march which aimed to fight the lack of voting rights for African Americans. 600 protesters were traveling down Highway 8 in Selma, Alabama to the state capitol. The protest was led by John Lewis, the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and Reverend Hosea Williams of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. John Lewis is seen in the front of the image being beaten by a police officer. The march was interrupted by a violent and sudden outburst of severe violence from the side of the police and state troopers who beat and attacked the peaceful protesters. It was this violence that led to the remembrance of this day as Bloody Sunday. Footage from the event was broadcasted nationwide and sparked public outrage. The support behind the civil rights movement was significantly boosted after this image. It gained prominence for its portrayal of police brutality and clearly depicts the ways in which African Americans were suppressed and stopped from fighting for their rights. Unlike many movements before it, the fight for civil rights had led to significant changes in legislation. This period was one in which many changes were made.